Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Season 1, Episode 24, All's Well That Ends Well. The worst episode. I'm kidding, but I really don't care for this episode at all. I mean, I'd say it's not the worst of Season 1, but it's not saying too much. Yeah, not a big fan. In fact, IS Destroyer just said in chat, he's not a fan of the Spike-centric episodes, and I kind of agree. Not really a lot of awesome going on here. In fact, I have very few notes too, which is usually a bad sign when it comes to these kind of things. Let's get this out of the way right off the bat. The wah wah counter absolutely needs to go up for this one. Holy crap! It's one of the most blatant wah wahs in like the entire thing. The only one surpassing this, actually, I guess this would be this at this point. The only one surpassing this would be the one from the episode where she literally plays on the trombone. That's the only thing surpassing the severity of this one. Oh, I'm supposed to summarize the episode, right? This is the episode when Owloicious, the owl, is introduced to continuity. And Spike is jealous, and then Spike is stupid. And then Spike is awesome, and then Spike is stupid. And it's funny. Right? Yeah, pretty boring episode. It's so boring. I'm just gonna vote. Make sure you vote for the music issue if you haven't voted yet. So, I have very few notes, like I said. Just little stuff like he wants to put a giant open glass of punch bowl on a wagon. What? Anyways, and he also has triple decker nut crazy vanilla cream cookies. What makes them triple decker, I wonder? Is it like nut, vanilla cream, nut, vanilla cream, nut, vanilla cream, or what? I don't know. But either way, he also keeps holding the book as he's about to sneeze, even knowing exactly what happens when he sneezes. Come on, Spike, you have more of a brain than this, right? No, of course you don't, because it's a comedy episode. I do have two positive things to say about the episode, I swear. But before I move any forward, he takes a lot of pride in being the #1 assistant, doesn't he? I mean, I guess that makes sense in its own right. I suppose this is a stupid question to ask, but how many of you have ever taken a lot of pride in your job? Ahem. And then, of course, Scudalo's like, I'll be an assistant because she need. Well, we're moving her closer to Rainbow Dash. So I'm actually fine with that. Little bit of character building in the background. As usual, Spike's issue is that he doesn't know how to hold back. And that really is the Spike problem. And it's the Spike problem because virtually every Spike-centric episode has the exact same point. Hi, I'm Spike. I'm totally cool. But then it's going to become much worse because I take it too far, and I'm sorry by the end. Every frickin' Spike episode does that. Like, with only a couple, I can think of 3 future Spike episodes that have the exact same beats. 4, excuse me, I just thought of another one. Is that Baby Yoda, Sean? Anyways, so, he's like, hey, you should totally, keep praising me. Come on, keep praising me. And they're like, no, Spike, you're awesome. And as much as it's stupid, I like that point once. It worked. It works fine once. It works fine when it's like, hey, you should keep praising me. No. Just because you're good doesn't mean you get a big ego, right? I mean, that's a good lesson to be learned. Wish they wouldn't hammer the point at every single time, but whatever. Is that a loving Baby Yoda? Anyways, so meteor shower once every century. I'll be honest, I could really theory craft about that a lot. Given the nature of this world and the cosmology of it, and the way that magic works through it, and the nature of that kind of a repeating element, like I really could just go off into the weeds on that point. I'm not gonna. But I find myself wondering if the fandom has ever actually tried to figure out why exactly every century a meteor shower happens. Because that's not a small thing, really, when you think about it. Anyways, then there's the second thing that the first thing the episode that actually does pretty well. It's called slanting. Now, I know slanting's... I usually refer to slanting as a bad thing, but here they use it to good effect. Every time Aloysius is shown, there's a bit of, oh no, it's being presented as if Aloysius is a monster. Creepy music, the lights aren't really on, a flash of a shadow in the background. Oh gosh, what could it be? You know, there's a lot of that going on. And then, oh, it's Aloysius. Oh, thank you. Oh, you're probably cold. Here, why'd you stay in? Okay, sure. So they portray him as creepy, then immediately stop, but then every time Spike interacts with him, he once again is portrayed as creepy. Up to and including a point where Spike leaves the house, and you see the owl's silhouette, and then the eyes pop open, and it's just straight out of a monster book, right? This actually works for me, though, better than I thought it would, because the whole point is that Aloysius effectively has no expression. And when you have a blank expression, the only expression you're going to see is the one you want to see. So Spike, naturally given his circumstances, sees this horrible, evil, villainous thing, and thus every time we see him, henceforth, it's from Spike's perspective as an evil, villainous thing. And yeah, the neck turn, which I of course can't do because I have a attached spine. Oh yeah, that actually qualifies for the books getting knocked out the shelves. Thank you for reminding me. I actually meant to comment on that. Don't worry, that number is going to go up a lot in the future, I'm pretty sure. Anywho, there's a lot of slanting. Evil music, shade, you know, creepy movements, all sorts of stuff. But then the episode tries to be a comedy for a bit by setting up a very bad rendition of a Who joke. It's not even a funny joke. It's the misunderstanding joke, but it's taken way too far. I'm on to you. Who? I am. Me. Who? No, Spike. I'm a... Who? That kind of joke works usually on a repetition of 3. That's pretty much the rule of humor. They do it closer to like 12 times in this episode. And it gets really old, but I'll get more to that in a second. So... what did you put, Nerdman? And how's it getting deleted? What did you guys do to my spreadsheet? I'm going to look at that later and figure out who's messing with it. Because someone's messing with it. In fact, here, let's just actually do this really quick. Let's do that. There, no one can edit it right now at all, except for me. I'm just going to chop that off. Back to the point. I did say you could add categories. That's not what you did, though. Because you've got, like, best Lorewalker meme. Okay. You've also got best Lorewalker meme. Like, you're not allowed to just repeat things. Also, I do like how you differentiate film. Why is there a film thing? I say you in the general sense. No, it's specifically you, Nerdman. No, I don't know who did this. Best lore concept? Huh? Best lore quote. I like that first one. That's the one I'm going to vote for. Lore is not awesome or loved, though. Yeah, there's about a 7 trillion film things were added, and best game of each specific year, which I'm not sure what I think of that. Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1, was that a game? I'm getting off topic. Sorry, we'll get back to that. Let's get back to the episode. Where was I? Rarity makes the bow for Aloysius, which makes sense because that's just kind of Rarity being Rarity. I like how Fluttershy is the only one who picks up on the obvious truth that Spike feels threatened and worried that he would be replaced. Twilight, of course, is completely oblivious. Because of course she is. She's still, and indeed will not be for a couple of years now, anywhere close to acclimated on how friendship works. So she just brushes it off immediately. Nah, he's fine. Cut to him immediately being, I'm not fine. They're just trying to replace me. Yeah, Twilight being Twilight. What can you do? You ever have one of those things where you're looking for something and you can't find it, and you start to get more and more frustrated, more and more frenetic? Especially since it's just a minor thing, and it's not like you have that many places to look, right? Where the hell's a frickin' feather? I just need a feather! Ah! Poor Spike. That's the only scene I felt bad for him in the entire film, the entire episode. So then they have a bit of a strange mood whiplash. Poor Spike. He'll come around. He's a genuinely good guy. Spike, I'm very disappointed in you. You've done terribly, and I hate you. That's not what she said, but it's certainly what it sounded like to him, isn't it? So we find out that Fluttershy has tea parties regularly. I swear I'm only bringing that up because it's one of the first times I've noticed it, and I have a feeling this is where that kind of started. Again, retroactive, or backloaded continuity. Then Spike becomes Snidely Whiplash, complete with the top hat and the cape. Yes, good. And then I will destroy that Aloysius. Oh, I hate him so. I don't have a mustache, but just pretend it's there. This is probably the other part of the episode that I actually like, with him just being straight up, just completely embracing the Snidely Whiplash thing. You'll notice the music jumps into it too. Just as he's like attacking the mouse and just throwing the things. That was great. I loved that. Then he backs into Twilight. And then Twilight leaves. So Spike runs off, pile of gems, dragon. Aloysius finally has an expression for the first time. They leave, the end. Now, I want to talk about a couple things here really quick. First of all, Spike's a moron. Second of all, Aloysius has had no expression the entire episode. And as I mentioned, that's part of the point. They've been slanting that. Here, though, you'll notice when Aloysius goes to save Spike, Aloysius has an expression for the first time. So, well, that does show that the creators were doing that slanting very much on purpose. I just wanted to point that out because you can have an expression on an owl. It's not like he's literally expressionless. Second point. I dislike this episode, but I kind of like what I figured to be the main core message of it. How many of you have ever been young or old and something went wrong and someone's upset with you or mad at you or whatever, and you take it really hard? Like to the point where you're like, oh God, they don't love me anymore. Or I can't believe I did something so stupid. Oh God, they probably don't even want to talk to me anymore. Right? There's a really good human moment towards the end of the episode where Twilight has gotten Spike away from the dragon. And Twilight is like, excellent praise to Tara Strong. Twilight sounds legitimately like a combination of horrified and relieved to get him away. And her tone conveys everything her words also do. Like, her tone says more than her words do, is what I'm trying to say. Because you can tell there that obviously she does still care about him and does still like him and does still love him and still wants to keep him safe, right? It wasn't that she wants him gone. It wasn't that she wants him in danger. Of course she's going to be there to help him. Why wouldn't she be? And from a distant third-person perspective, that makes perfect sense. But from the perspective of Spike, that's something he very much needed to hear. I once ran away from home. This would have been this would have been third grade. This is over in Colorado. I don't remember why, but I remember what I felt. I'd done something. Mom was upset, and she yelled at me. And I realized that I was just a terrible child, and I'd screwed up, and obviously she doesn't want me to be around anymore. So I just put on a shirt and left. It was so logical. As you might imagine, Mom was basically, hey, and found me in fairly short order, and took me in and was like, no, I love you, you're my son, blah, blah, blah. And it sounds so illogical and stupid from the external perspective, but seeing that basically children, in my opinion, need to learn that lesson at some point or another. Frankly, adults need to learn that lesson at some point or another. Just because we argue doesn't mean we don't like each other anymore. Just because we disagree doesn't mean we're not friends. Just because we fight doesn't mean we suddenly stop being connected. In fact, this is going to be a recurring point in this show. That you can be friends with someone and have a fight with them, and disagree with them, and not get along with them all the time. Right? That is, as they say, life. So as much as I don't like this episode, and I never plan to watch it again, I like that core message. It's one of the first times I show it. That's all my notes, other than the extremely obvious wah wah. They even wink at the camera, for God's sakes. Now, how many of you have not voted, really quick? Because I do want to determine this music thing for good or for ill. And it's you guys who are watching this live that, you know, obviously have the most say in this because you're bothering to be here live during the thing. Like, I have entire playlists that I could switch. So I got the music here. I can just switch. I have the music going. I get weirded out when it's just silence. So make sure you voted. I was just about to link that. Thank you, Bragwin, if you have not. When your body keeps taking you out of commission, there's nothing you can do about it. No, I don't think I've ever experienced that. I have literally slept-walked and slept-talked and slept-rated before. You know, whatever that's properly called. There is actually a medical term for that. I don't remember what it's called. Eric can tell you about that. He's actually interacted with me when I was asleep a few times. That was back when I was working way too much. You think I'm working a lot now? No, you have no idea. I burnt myself out hard. I probably have health issues to this day because of, like, that year or so. Apparently, I'm a much more amenable person when I'm sleepwalking. Mum does the same thing. I actually get it straight from Mum. I have had entire conversations with my mother while she is asleep. And after a while, you kind of get used to it. You kind of recognize when they're asleep and when they're awake. She and I used to go to the movies, and she'd fall asleep in the middle of the movie, and then come out and start driving home, and she'd wake up in the drive home, and it's okay. I know, you know, I'll grab the wheel. Like, all right, Mom, let's pull over a bit, give you a few seconds to figure out where you are, get out of the disorientation. She used to work a lot too. Yeah. One time we were driving up to Reno. That was fun. Anyways, I've literally rated while asleep. People who are not me can attest to this, because I don't have any memory of it. I was asleep. In World of Warcraft. I did an entire Noxoramus run. Tanking. While asleep. Successfully, by the way. It was the weirdest damn thing. I should chop off the local recording. Nobody on YouTube cares about this.